YouTube! Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Perspective. This is Lucas. I am bringing you a very special video, a actual request on my last video. Someone wanted me to do the 10th spot in a mock draft and give my perspective on what I would do in that position. So I'm going to bring that to you today. I don't know how many more of these mock draft videos I'm going to do from different spots, but we are getting into the meat and potatoes portion of the fantasy football drafting part of the season. Everyone's drafts are this weekend, next weekend, so I'm going to be pumping out a little bit more content over that span. Our weekly show going to start very soon. My weekly show is going to consist of 3 guests, BJ, Andy, and Jim Stroker. We're going to go over everything in the football world, from betting on college football, DFS FanDuel plays of the week. I'm going to get into some sleeper start, sleeper sits. We're going to combine every show we did last year into one show a week. Probably going to air each Thursday around 9 o'clock. So tune into that. We're doing one show a week. Cannot wait. I also started a TikTok, FF Perspective. Give that a follow. Haven't really posted on that yet, but I'm going to get that up and running and get going. Never thought those words would leave my mouth, but here we are. It's a good way to reach people, improve the YouTube audience, and get the name out there and help people win your league. If I say anything in this video that you like, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend about it, share the video. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into this. As Russell Wilson said, let's ride. All right, here we are setting up the settings to this wonderful mock draft from one of my viewers. I should have asked him to specify what the roster settings are in his league. I'm just going to assume it's a normal PPR league, 1 QB, 2 RBs, two wide receivers, a tight end, 1 flex position, a kicker, and defense. These leagues are a little bit outdated in my opinion. The reason for that being is in these leagues, the QBs and even wide receivers don't have much trade value, comparatively speaking, to the running backs. You can throw tight ends in there, obviously, as well. So doing things like adding a super flex, doing things like raising the number of wide receivers, doing things like making it a tight end premium format raises the value of those positions and makes trading in your league more prone to happen. So I highly suggest that in any league. Mess with the settings a little bit. You want the positions of your fantasy football team roster to match the importance of the position in real life. So Superflex makes QBs the most important position in my opinion. So that aligns more with real, actual football. So stuff like that, talk to your commissioner, talk to your group, see what you guys can work out. I highly suggest that. Even adding a couple more flex positions makes it more interesting, especially in those lower leagues. You want to start as many people as possible, because if you're like in an 8 or even 10-man league, everyone's team's going to be stacked. Everyone's starting lineup's going to be stacked. But if you start adding, 1, 2, 3, even 5 flex positions that you have to start on a week-to-week basis, that's where people start seeing weaknesses in their starting lineup, and you can add that. And they will start trading, trying to fulfill those weaknesses. So, in my opinion, one of the most fun parts of fantasy football is trading, and you have to do what you can to kind of promote trading. So, let's get into this. We're just going to do the standard draft because I forgot to ask him or her what their league settings were. But I'm going to draft from the 10th spot. We're going to update that. The roster's updated. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get going. So, one thing I failed to mention throughout this video series is the number one thing you can do as a fantasy football player, in my opinion, is make your own rankings. You might say, why is that important? Everything, Sleeper, Underdog, Yahoo, ESPN, all have their own rankings I just go off of. Well, that's kind of the point. Everyone's rankings are different. Everyone values different players at a different level. Sleeper has Travis Kelce at 13, where I have Travis Kelce at like 7. So if Travis Kelce falls to you at the 10th spot, I feel like you almost have to take him in this format. And let me explain why. You are looking for positional advantages in fantasy football to help you win your league. When you are drafting at the end of the first round, the 3 best wide receivers and the 5 best running backs, even sometimes 6 best running backs, are off the board already. you could draft a running back or wide receiver, and you're still not going to have, let's say you draft a wide receiver, you're still not going to have a positional advantage compared to the 6 other teams in your league. So you're already behind the 8 ball. If you draft a receiver, I mean, it's pretty consensus that Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase are the top 3. I can draft Devontae, and he might give me, a point or 2 lower than Jamar Chase, who's the 3rd wide receiver. But that's still a 2-point deficit I'm going into a week, at least, against the 3 people who drafted receivers ahead of me. So you're looking for positional advantages. So in this realm, I think Travis Kelce is prone to explode this year. I know he's been tight end 1 or tight end 2 last year for a while now, but this year is different. They took out Tyreek Hill's number 1 target and brought in a bunch of different types of wide receivers to Kansas City. But Travis Kelce is the only real face that's been there and has that rapport built with Patrick Mahomes. So what do people do? They lean on people they know. So Travis Kelce's, he could be a 140 target type person, 140 to 160 type target guy, just because he has the rapport built with Patrick Mahomes. And I know the Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill, but they brought in so many different receivers that I don't feel like, so many above average receivers, that they're not going to be able just to double team Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill like they did last year. They're going to have to spread the wealth on defense, which should open up Travis Kelce a little bit. So give me Travis Kelce all day. Positional advantage. You are locking in a number 1 at the position. And then you circle back around and we look what's left. And I am falling more and more and more in love with DeAndre Swift at this spot. If he falls to you at the 2, I'm liking it more and more. Reason being is Hard Knocks. I think they are going to use the heck out of him. He looks good. He looks explosive. I wouldn't hate going Aaron Jones here. I'm starting to like Saquon Barkley a little bit more. But if you're talking about young, athletic, ascending team with rapport, give me DeAndre Swift. Aaron Jones could have a great year. If you look at his splits without Devontae Adams, they are absolutely insane. But are they going to use him like that this year, or on a consistent basis? That sample size without Devontae Adams is small. So, and with A.J. Dillon sitting there waiting to take over, I like Aaron Jones. I think he'd be a good RB2 on your team, probably an elite RB2 on your team. But I just can't pass up DeAndre Swift. I think that's a perfect spot to take him. You're starting off with Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift's going to catch a lot of balls, get a lot of carries. I really like him this year. And then we'll see who comes back to us. So then we're here, and I'm looking at receivers, and you already know I've already talked about this. I think this guy legit has top 5 wide receiver upside. Top 5. Little side note here for all you guys that are in fantasy football drafts. Check when your playoffs start, because there are a lot of teams that start their bye weeks in week 14. I know I'm in a league where the first round of the playoffs is week 14. So that's going to take some people off my board. I'm not going to lie. You don't want to make the tournament and then 3 of your best players are out. If your league starts the playoffs in week 15, this is a no-brainer. I'm going Michael Pittman. I said Matt Ryan, the amount he targets as wide receiver 1 is just insane. Look at Calvin Ridley's stats. Look at Julio Jones. He's literally force-feeding those guys. So we're here now. We got a lot of different things, a lot of different ways we can go. And someone I'm falling more and more and more in love with here in the 4th round to kind of shore up my young RB. And this is a little bit different than what I would usually do. But I love Travis Etienne. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars got an offensive coach, way better offensive coach compared to Urban Meyer. And they're going to utilize Travis Etienne a lot. And he has that rapport built with Trevor Lawrence already. So, injuries 100%. He's back. Travis Etienne, I'm starting off with those 4. Now when I look at the 1-2 combos of my running backs, remember I'm looking for positional advantage, I would put us up there with a lot of people, at least comparable to a lot of people. Yes, Henry Barkley has potential to break the slate. Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams has potential to break the slate. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette has potential, but we are at least in the realm to compete. We're not so far behind, and we're making positional advantage at other places, i.e. Travis Kelce. I think Michael Pittman has top 5 upside. I really like him. So we're here, and this is a no-brainer to me. You know how I say I'm always targeting the QBs in round 5. Give me Kyler. Kyler Murray, legit top 3 upside, sincerely. Damn, I really wanted that to circle around Marquise Brown. If that would have happened, we would have been set. But let's go down here. Typically, I still might do it. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do. But I just told a subscriber yesterday, I don't really like taking a running back and a wide receiver off the same team. Reason for that being is they cap each other's touchdown upside on a week-to-week basis. So I'm going to go Juju here. No, I'm not, because I don't really like taking 2 pass catchers off the same thing. So I really handcuffed myself here. So let's explore these people and see if there's anyone I really, really like. Cooks, it might be a good opportunity to take Cooks. He's always so underrated. Let's do it. I mean, he has the rapport built with Davis Mills. He had a good season with Davis Mills, so give him a shot. I always overlook Cooks because I can't trust their offense, but with Mechie out and the only real target competition being Nico Collins, I mean, Cooks should be peppered with targets, right? And then we're going to go off the wall here a little bit. This guy is really, really good, but we don't know how it's going to affect his target share with Devontae coming in. Elijah Moore looks awesome. So my goal here is I'm going to gamble a little bit. I want this 1-2 stack right here. I would love that 1-2 stack. So let's see what happens. Hope they pass. Come on, pass it. Pass it. And there you go. Circle back, and now I have 2 people that are looking great in camp. I mean, Brandon Ayuk's looking phenomenal in camp. He has the chemistry with Trey Lance. So I'm really, really liking this start from the 10th spot. Remember, the end of the draft is a lot harder to get positional advantages than the beginning. But now we're building a heck of a wide receiver core. I think we definitely have locked and loaded wide receiver 1 on the season, and 3 high-end wide receiver 2s with wide receiver 1 upside, and that's what you're shooting for in those early to late or those middle to late rounds. So we're going to take just a peek at this. Now, I know that I said I don't like taking running backs and pass catchers from the same team. But when you get a discount on a player as big as we're seeing on Dameon Pierce here in the 9th round, that it's probably going to be the workhorse for the Houston Texans. I mean, their offense is going to run through 2 players, Brandon Cooks, Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is not going to be in my lineup on a week-to-week basis. He's more of a fill-in and a handcuff to either Travis Etienne or DeAndre Swift if they get hurt. I'm all right if your running back 3 matches a pass catcher in your starting lineup. That's a little bit different. I'm more talking about on a consistent basis in your starting lineup. For instance, I wouldn't love taking Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. Those 2 are both going to be in your starting lineup each week, and that caps their touchdown upside. Stuff like that. So sign me up, RB3. That's a good RB3. And I don't know if you guys have been watching, but the New York Jets are starting Michael Carter over Breece Hall right now in almost all practice and scrimmage situations. That could be a very, very, very sneaky pick in your late rounds. Something to pay attention to. Right here is where I might get my QB2 real quick. I got to see who I got on my team. When's Kyler's bye week? So Kyler's bye week's 13. Why is that important? I'm going to use Deshaun Watson as my backup QB because he comes back in week 11. So keep that in the back of your mind. That's why I do like drafting Kyler. I know, and I think actually a couple of them have really late buys in the top 6. And I kind of target those guys and then get Deshaun as my backup QB because later on in the season, their bye week hasn't even happened yet, and then Deshaun's coming back. And Deshaun legit has top 5 fantasy football QB outlook. So we're going to wait on the backup QB. And with that news, do I pay attention to that news and lock in Michael Carter as my RB4? Is this a Jonathan Taylor situation where he kind of wasn't that great coming right into Indianapolis and it took him a little bit of time to get in there? Could be. I am also going to move this down here so you can see the draft board. Sorry about that, guys. It could be, but I'm going to ride the hot wave. Maybe I do think Breece Hall obviously takes over that backfield eventually throughout the season, but it's a good opportunity as my RB4 to produce a couple good weeks and then flip him for whatever. So give me that. And I'm probably going to lock in my backup tight end. Yep, I need a backup tight end and a backup QB. Then we are kicker defense. Easy money, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the more and more I get into these fantasy football drafts, the more I see Irv Smith dropping. Don't pass on Irv Smith as your tight end too. Higher paced offense, more passing offense. I just don't understand why he keeps dropping. Deshaun's sitting there for me. Easy pick. He's coming back week 11. Easy pick, or week 12. Kyler's buys not till week 13. So you're literally, you'd start Kyler anyway. And there'll be enough QBs on the waiver wire to pick up if Kyler goes down. So then we're just going to get a kicker in defense. Target the Indianapolis Colts because they're matchups to the Seattle Seahawks week 1. And then we're targeting a kicker from a team who's going to score a lot of points. So I've been targeting Robbie Gould. I think San Francisco is at least going to get to that side of the field a lot and give Robbie Gould a lot of chances. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. From the 10th spot, I'm going to try to move this again. I'm going to move me off the screen for a second. Make me a little smaller. Put me up here. There you go. The draft board. Start off with Kelsey, positional advantage. Circle back around DeAndre Swift. If you really like Aaron Jones, even Fournette there, I think they have high upside as well. Circle back around Michael Pittman, my favorite wide receiver, in the third after the second round. Top 5 upside. Matt Ryan literally targets his number 1 receiver more than most quarterbacks. Travis Etienne, I don't have many shares of Travis Etienne, but he is a supremely high upside RB with rapport with Trevor Lawrence already. Kyler Murray, I love Kyler Murray. 2 years ago, he was locked and loaded to break the QB slate, and I think he can get back to that with his running ability. Cooks, this is where it got a little fishy for me. I'm trying to follow my own rules. I really wanted Marquise Brown there. Got sniped. In an ideal world, I would have taken Amon St. Brown over Cooks, but I do not like matching pass catchers and running backs from the same team who are going to be on my starting lineup on a week-to-week basis because I feel like they cap each other's upside. Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk. I love the reports I'm reading out of camp. I think they both have legit high-end wide receiver 2 seasons just waiting for you. Dameon Pierce, Michael Carter, again, camp, looking crazy. Dameon Pierce looking good in the preseason. Michael Carter taking all the starter snaps. Good pick. Irv Smith, Deshaun Watson coming back from a bye or a suspension. He comes back from his suspension before Kyler Murray even goes on his bye. So keep that in mind if you're going to do that. Make sure that you're not scrambling and at one point have 3 roster spaces taken on your roster by QBs. You don't really want that. That's not creating the biggest edge on your team. Colts, target Colts, week 1 defense. I stream my defenses. I target the bad teams. So I'm going to target teams like the Seattle Seahawks this year, and that's who the Colts have week 1. Target the defense against them. And Robbie Gould, again, like I always say about kickers, draft kickers from high-scoring offenses. If I said anything during this draft that you found useful and is going to help you win your league, like the video, share the video. I appreciate all the views. I appreciate all the comments. I am here to help. Drop a comment below. As always, I'll answer that. My TikTok is out. at FF Perspective, Fantasy Football Perspective, baby. I'm going to start on that, probably make my first one tonight. So, as always, thank you for watching the video. Peace.